Two teams separated by only about 60 miles have not faced each other in 62 years. Good afternoon. Welcome to EA Diddle Arena in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Scott Thompson along with former NBA assistant coach Dean Cooper, and we have Lipscomb here at Western Kentucky University.
Yeah, going to be a great game on campus this afternoon. Two teams kind of coming off some sting losses. Obviously, Western Kentucky played Kansasville, but the loss at Grand Canyon was a difficult one. And Lipscomb, man, the Battle of the Boulevard, 12-point lead with 3 minutes to go, and it slipped away from them. So two teams looking for a Division I win that's sorely needed.
Both these teams are highly regarded in the mid-major polls, and this would be a big win for either team.
Yes, it would, and it's going to be a high-level game. They both play really fast. Western Kentucky leads the country in pace. Lipscomb plays nearly as fast, so it's going to be up and down. Should be a lot of fun.
Let's get into our players to watch. First for Lipscomb, it's going to be Jacob Ognasovic.
Yeah, inside-out player shooting 37% from the three-point line, so he can do it both. And then at the other end of the floor, Babacar Faye, who is scoring, but the big thing with him is the offensive rebounds, 3 a game.
Yeah, Babacar Faye, almost a double-double on the season, rather in his last game against Campbellsville, 17 points and 9 rebounds. Can Lipscomb handle inside of WKU?
Yeah, that's going to be a big key to today's game, is Lipscomb's ability to keep Western Kentucky off the glass, especially when the game gets broken and goes up and down like Western Kentucky likes to play. Sometimes that even becomes more prohibitive to keeping people off the glass. So that's going to be a big factor in this afternoon's contest.
You know, Lipscomb does not mind to push the ball. They're going to look for that first open shot.
Sure, absolutely. They play a fun style, 5 out. Western Kentucky does a little bit different. They play route in transition, but after made baskets, they'll tend to get in a half-court set.
We're ready to tip things off here in Bowling Green. Welcome in on this Sunday afternoon, as it will be controlled by WKU. They're in white, Lipscomb in the black. WKU has first chance to get on the scoreboard this afternoon. Don McHenry for WKU with the ball out front. They get it inside. Babacar early gets the left-handed semi-hook shot, I guess.
So right away, player to watch. They go right to Babacar and see what he's got, and he gets him a bucket. Little 2-2-1 press here.
And do you see WKU doing that throughout this game today, is pressuring full court?
Yeah, when they mix their defenses up quite a bit, they'll play some man, some zone, obviously a little pickup.
That's Giassi Powell with his first bucket. He's just 1 point away from 1,000 career points.
Yeah, he can put the ball in the basket. People talk about scoring at 3 levels.
And Don McHenry with a left-hander. He gets his first points. He averages 17 points a game. He was one of Hank Polonna's out at Indian Hills Community College. Turnover by Lipscomb. WKU likes to run. Sometimes they can get going too fast, don't they, Dean?
Yeah, they had that first game when I saw them live against Wichita, they did, but that was the first game out of the gate. And those are, when you play fast, you're going to be erratic a little bit at times, so most teams are.
You get a little pumped up on that first home game anyway, right?
Sure.
WKU coming off a big win over Campbellsville. Lipscomb lost earlier. McHenry with an easy 2.
So those are the things right there that Lipscomb definitely needs to avoid. They cannot have pick sixes and lunch money steals for layups this afternoon. That's going to make it really difficult for them.
4 early points for Don McHenry for WKU. Joe Anderson gets slapped on the arm over there, our first foul of the game.
Yeah, the one thing Western Kentucky does well, they did it in the Wichita State game, they did it in a little bit of the Grand Canyon game when I watched. Like, they have very active hands, which we've already seen on display here.
Here's Joe Anderson. Through the first 4 games, he's already got 17 assists, so he'll be the guy that dishes the ball, won't he?
Yes, he will. He's a really good, he's a kind of a quote-unquote throwback point guard. Not much, doesn't score a lot, but facilitates the basketball.
Dylan Faulkner out of Calhoun, Georgia, missed the jump shot inside. You know, he's a juggler on the side. How about that?
Is that right?
He's a juggler. He tried to juggle that one in, didn't he? In the lane, no good on the jumper by Columbe.
That's probably a good skill to have as a basketball player, actually.
Yeah, you just use both hands, kind of tip things around. Faulkner getting the start today. Now, one thing to watch as this game goes along is WKU's bench scoring. They're averaging over 33 points off the bench, Dean.
Yeah, they have a lot of potent players off the bench. They're deep. They've played several, they've gone 9-10 deep with significant minutes in all 3 games.
Ognasovic at the free line, dips it down a little bit closer. A little easy shot there, just altered, it looked like, by the bigs of WKU. Oh, here comes Giassi Powell with the left hand, and now he has 1,001 in his career.
There you go, Giassi. Yeah, I think down there on those 2 shots right close to the rim, Scott, they're aware of the athletic ability and the shot block ability, and they've rushed, and you got to take your time. There's a heck of a block.
Right there, the block, it was Dylan Faulkner. He's 6'9", a sophomore out of Calhoun, Georgia. Talked about him on the offensive end, comes back and makes it forward on the defensive end with a block. Braxton Bayless, a graduate out of Niagara. On the far side over there for WKU, Christian Lander. Off to a good start, 14 points a game for the Hilltoppers. Babacar, Phi, traveled inside, kind of shuffled those feet, trying to get a little position on Charlie Williams.
He had a chance to maybe kick that one out for a little bit easier play. It got a little crowded in there, but he's one of their leading scorers, so they're going to go to him, and they clearly think that they have a matchup advantage there.
WKU has only turned it over 35 times in 4 games. That's not bad, to only have that few turnovers.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job
for
taking care
of the style
ball.
of the way they like to play.
Absolutely, they lead the country in pace. So to have 35 turnovers and with that many, they've 74 possessions in a game. That's quite impressive.
Jacob Ognasovic missed all of last season with an injury, missed the 3-pointer. WKU comes back though, and Don McHenry, early start, has 7 of his team's first. Missed the 3.
Yeah, it's interesting. WKU's gone into this kind of token slow them up press after each of their made baskets.
Inside they go with it to Anderson, kick out. Pruitt for 3 as he does a fake, and they can't get a roll in this afternoon. One thing that Coach Acuff talked about, his team's got to follow up their missed shots and hit the offensive boards to have a chance.
Yeah, they're going to have to get it. Everyone gets away. They're going to have to get in there and try to scrape a few out because
3 on the way. Joe Anderson joins the party today.
Yeah, that's typical Lipscomb basketball right there. Get the ball up the floor quick, find the first open 3 and take it. Coach Acuff doesn't care if it goes deep in the clock. He wants good shots.
WKU with another turnover. 9-7 here in the early going. Glad to have you on this Sunday afternoon watching 2 teams from the ASUN and Conference USA. Of course, Lipscomb picked to be the top dog in ASUN this year in a competitive conference.
Very competitive conference.
Babacar Faye on that right side of the lane. Kick it out. Left-handed 3 is off the mark from Christian Lander. Ognasovic with a rebound for Lipscomb. He's pulling down several rebounds a game. He had 7 the other night against Belmont and 28 points. Christian Lander on the floor, coming up with a near steal. And we've got a held ball possession, and it belongs to Lipscomb. We got a timeout on the floor here in the first half. 14:22 to go in Bowling Green. WKU leading Lipscomb in the early going. Come back and join us here in Bowling Green on ESPN+. Sunday afternoon here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We welcome you in. WKU out of the Conference USA with a 9-7 lead over the ASUN's Lipscomb. Lipscomb, 2 straight years they've lost to Belmont kind of at the last second.
Yeah, 2 years, and all 3 years, I think Coach Acuff told in the game. I was at last year's game at Belmont. I watched it this year, and like I said, mentioned in the opening, that was a heart-wrenching loss. So what's been really good is sometimes when you lose games like that, there's a hangover for a while, and to Lipscomb's credit, they've come out ready to roll against a good opponent.
You and I saw WKU lose the opener, a game they had a chance to win against Wichita State, and they lost a heartbreaker at Grand Canyon about a week ago. They led for 30 minutes in that game, only to lose by 2, and big win over Campbellsville, 104-76 earlier this week. to get into the win column. You know, you talk about Lipscomb. They were in till about 3 minutes to go at Arkansas, second game of the season.
Yeah. They stay in a lot of games against, you know, maybe the Power Fives. Opponents are a little bit ahead because they play the math. They mostly shoot at rims and threes. They play the math. In fact, I was going to mention after Gayasi took that second mid-range, that they don't have many guys that do that. They're going to do what Pruitt just did.
He nailed the three. So Pruitt, 37.5%, hits his first three of the afternoon, and Lipscomb has the lead at 10-9. Driving to the baseline was Tyrone Marshall Jr. He's a guy to watch. He can light up the scoreboard for WKU.
Yes, he can.
There's a lot of weapons for WKU. Marshall is one of them. Missed the free throw. Agnosovic with great rebounding position, and they're fighting off Blaze Kieda.
Yeah, those are the things that Lipscomb's going to have to do this afternoon to have those physical blockouts like that. And then they're going to probably also, Scott, is what we would call the Jeff Van Gundy when I was with him, he would call them engaged rebounds, where the big, he might not necessarily get the rebound. He just got to keep his big from getting it, and then those guards got to come in and, you know, scoop some of them up.
Still some fundamental. You've still got to block out.
Yep.
Pruitt across the timeline for Lipscomb. Nice crowd on this Sunday afternoon. They get it inside for Charlie Williams. A little trouble, hands everywhere for WKU, and we got a held ball possession. It'll go to WKU this time.
Yeah, it's impressive. The WKU's what I call activity index with their hands. We saw it at the Wichita State game. It's a little harder to see on the TV watching the Grand Canyon game, but if you have the ball, if you you're naive if you don't think somebody's slapping at that thing.
There's Enoch Colombe. Bedford missed the three off the back of the iron.
Boy, when he lets it go, it looks good, doesn't it?
And he's a true freshman out of Memphis. Pruitt on the left side from about 15 feet out. He's got 5 early. And now Lipscomb with a 3-point lead. Loose on the floor, coming up with the steal was Will Pruitt from Lipscomb. They'll go the other way. Into the corner. Suber. Inside in the lane. Agnosovic gets hammered going up for the little 6'8" footer there.
Good, really good job by Jacob positioning to the front of the rim on the baseline drive to the top of the restricted area. That's good basketball. Good recognition on his part.
Bayless his first. Second on WKU. Agnosovic, 77.8% free throw shooter. Gets the first one. Now it's a 4-point lead, Lipscomb's biggest. Had good conversations with Hank Plona. He says, you know, Lipscomb's a good team. And
Yeah.
both coaches were very complimentary of the other.
Yes, they were, and I think, you know, genuinely so. And they both know they're well coached. They both know they have good teams. And they have a tough opponent this afternoon. There's been a lot of substitutions early here too, by the way.
Both teams getting a lot of players in. Now, WKU will play a lot of players.
Yep.
Across the timeline for WKU, Jack Edelin, 5'10" sophomore out of Louisville. Averages a couple of points a game. They'll bring him in. He'll handle the point a lot. Bedford down in the lane. Fake, blocked in there by Grant Osmond out of Wisconsin, 6'11" junior. He and Faye in there will go at it. That's some tall timber.
Yeah, there's going to be some physical play around that paint with those bigs today.
Pruitt, baseline, 13 seconds on the shot clock, and there's one right for Dean Cooper to handle.
And back to my friend Vlad.
Turnover, it'll be WKU ball right here in front of us. WKU gets back in. Don McHenry as Jalen Jackson checks out. Yeah, both these teams got a lot of parts, new parts that have come in over the last year or so. The way things are in college basketball and athletics anymore.
Yeah, actually, I would. Lipscomb's actually unusual. They brought back like 5 or 6 guys.
Here is Suber with a pickpocket and an easy 2. His first points. We got a timeout on the floor. WKU wants a timeout, trailing by 7. This is basketball from EA Diddle Arena and Bowling Green on ESPN+. Back to Bowling Green, Scott Thompson along with Dean Cooper. Uncharacteristic by both teams here early. Probably credit the other team's defenses. 5 turnovers WKU, 4 by Lipscomb.
Yeah, very unusual, and it's something that we said that Lipscomb need to stay away from so that Western Kentucky didn't get the run-out pick sixes. Lipscomb's got a couple of their own on Western Kentucky's turnovers. So
all right, there's one right there.
Here's one right here by Western Kentucky that we mentioned, and Coach Acuff mentioned before the game when we spoke to him, and then, there's one Lipscomb kind of evening up the score in that regard. So 9 turnovers early, very unusual for these teams. Really active hands, Western Kentucky always, and Lipscomb's come out with a sense of purpose, trying to wash that bad taste out of their mouth from Tuesday night.
Lipscomb shoots about 46.1 from the field. Right now they're at 46.2. So if they keep at that level, they got to feel good. WKU shooting at 33% right now. It's still early about both teams on shooting from three-point range.
Yeah, there's 1 for 4 and 2 for 6, and both teams are going to get up a number of threes. So we'll see how that progresses. What's been interesting, like I said too, is Western's trying to slow Lipscomb up a little bit, even after makes, putting a little token press on them.
But Lipscomb overall has really handled it. They've not tried to force anything.
Absolutely.
Don McHenry for WKU. Colombe inside, they work it to Tyrone Marshall Jr. Lander, the lefty, missed the 3. Rebound comes into the hands, or does it? Colombe had it, went through his hands, but I think somebody in that black jersey there got a hand on Colombe.
Yeah, sure did. It's been interesting. So the last 2 times that it's gone into the post on this right side, they've kept Lander on that side of the floor, and he's got 2 kick-out feet set 3s. So it'll be interesting to see if he makes a couple. Will Lipscomb make an adjustment on where they dig down from in the post?
Lander's dad played football here at WKU for the legendary Jack Harbaugh.
Is that right?
How about that? Foul inside on Lipscomb's Joe Anderson. That's his first, team second. A lot of quick hands in there, and sometimes you get caught.
Yep. A lot of activity level, both ends of the floor.
Speaking of Lander, he spent 2 years at Indiana before coming to WKU. Hits the free throw. He's an Evansville native. That's just his 3rd free throw attempt of the year in 4 games. Missed the second. So WKU trailing by 6 here in the early going. No need to hit a panic button. Still 11:35 in the first half. Now they bring that defense out high. Lander was guarding Anderson. Osmond needs some help. Top of the key. There's a deflected ball, but stayed right there with Lipscomb. Osmond down the left of the lane. He'll slam one.
Good straight line drive there by the big fella. But again, Western Kentucky got and Lander coming right back at him.
Ball's going to be tipped out of bounds. It'll go to Lipscomb. Looked like Babacar may have slapped it out of there for WKU. WKU aggressive after that. Came down, Lander came down and just barely missed the 2. There you see right there Osmond with the slam. There's a tip from behind McHenry.
I tell you, I haven't obviously kept track of the deflections. They've gotten their hands on at least 10 balls just here in the first about 9 minutes of the game.
That's being active when you need to be. McHenry, Marshall for 3, top of the key. It's just off the left. Babacar inside, he'll touch the rim.
That's what he gets 3 offensive rebounds a game, and that's something that obviously we identified that Lipscomb needs to be aware of. And I think they're putting this press on just to keep Lipscomb, because Lipscomb loves to come down and get the ball moving around right away.
In the corner for 3, that's Miles White.
And it prohibits them from doing that, but they still find White in the corner for
He transferred in out of Rockhurst College. Last year he was 12.6 points a game at Lipscomb. Kellen Boylan, his first. That's the team 3rd there on Lipscomb. As you get a good look here at the Babacar fine dunk.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's one of his weapons. He's got a few weapons out there, but that's definitely one. There's another one.
He gets fouled going up by Miles White, his first team 4th. Babacar, he attended that NBA academy in Senegal.
Yep.
That's how he got recruited over there. You see him? He got a little bump before he even got down there to receive the pass.
Sure did. So getting out of that pick and roll, it's what you call exit velocity. How fast can he get out of it? And he gets out of it fast. And on the NBA Academy thing, I'm just going to speak on that because spending 22 years in that league, and the Academy is a great thing. Once they got the Academy established, giving some of these kids opportunities to get scholarships and get an education and take basketball places they probably never thought they would be as a direct result of the Academy. So good for the NBA on their work on that. There's kids all over college basketball that have been through that academy.
Abubakar now with 6 points. He had a career high of 28 in the opener against Wichita State. He's 6 early. WKU down by 7 here at home. There's a steal, but knocked out of bounds by Enoch Colombe out of Quebec. Another Indian Hills Community College product.
Yep. And another deflection.
Well, Hank Plona, if you start thinking about the people he sent on to D1 schools from Indian Hills when he was there.
Sure.
Long list of people.
Long list of people. He obviously won at a high level. I know that's one thing that the athletic director mentioned when he, in his press conference, was this guy's a proven winner.
86.5%.
That'll get it done, won't it?
That gets your attention, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He'd been on the staff last year, and WKU's had 3 coaches in 3 years. Driving to the bucket, Miles White gets hammered, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Really good slot cut there on the drive, taking advantage of the defense turning their head as the ball worked its way toward the middle, and White recognized an opportunity to take a 45-degree cut there and get to the rim and draw a foul and get 2 here.
Steve Lutz was here for only a year. I think most people thought he'd be here about 3 years, but the landscape in college basketball changed. He had an opportunity after getting WKU to the NCAA tournament, after taking Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 2 straight?
Two straight.
So, 3 straight trips to the NCAA, get your eyes at some bigger schools.
Yes, sir. And he, not only is Steve Lutz, I've known Steve Lutz for 20 or 25 years, and not only is he a really good basketball coach, he's a really good human being. And so I'm happy for him. I know Western Kentucky was happy of his achievements here. They're probably a little bummed that he moved on so quickly, but I think they have a more than capable replacement.
A rising star in D1 college basketball in Hank Plona. Give him time here, they say. McHenry, WKU down now by 9, trying to cut into it. Off the back of the iron on a 3. Joe Anderson. Far side there to White, kicks it out. Top of the key, Pruitt. No, he faked. 3 outside by Ognasovic. Yeah, I get tongue-tied on that one sometime, right?
Yep.
He can shoot it outside, inside. I don't think he'll score 23 every night, but he'll fill it up for sure.
Yeah, he can do a lot of things. Look at him running the floor now too. He's such a versatile player. He missed all last year with an injury.
Fadeaway jumper by Joe Anderson. He has 5, and now Lipscomb biggest lead at 11, 25-14. Both coaches thought this would be one of those games where you go back and forth, but early on it's Lipscomb now.
Yep. Coach Plona actually mentioned if somebody got out by 8 or 10, he didn't think that would last long. So now he's unfortunately on the catching up side of that, so we'll see how he addresses it.
Joe Anderson picks up his 2nd foul, team 5th on Lipscomb here in the first half. Going to send Christian Lander to the line.
Boy, Landers has been active today. He's done a lot of things, getting around that basket, getting the free throw line.
2 out of 3 so far. 14 points and about 3 rebounds a game he'll average. Shoots about 35% from 3-point range. He's missed a couple of them.
Yeah, a couple good looks too. That's why I mentioned that about if he stays on that side where they're throwing the ball into the post. If he hits a couple of those, Lipscomb's going to have to consider making an adjustment where they're digging down on the post from.
3 down for Christian Lander. Only 3 Hilltoppers have scored. 7 different Lipscomb Bisons have scored. WKU really moving around on the defense. What's that, 2-3 or a matchup zone they're running right now?
Yeah, a little bit of a matchup, I think. When I saw him against Wichita, I was trying to put my finger on it exactly because I think they went man out of it a couple times. A lot of teams do.
Tyrone Marshall missed it. High rebound, Logan Suber out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, a sophomore for Lipscomb.
Another deflection. Geez, these guys they are active hands, and I'm telling you, that's a direct result of coaching. You have to coach that to have every one of your players doing it all the time. There's another dig at the ball by Bayless.
Bayless will get called for the foul as they got a step on him. Team's fifth on WKU. We got a timeout on the floor here in Bowling Green. Lipscomb leading WKU 25-16. We ask you to come back and join us here in Bowling Green. You're watching us on ESPN+. Well, we played 12 and a half minutes here in Bowling Green. Western Kentucky University, a team that shoots about 39% from three-point range right now, Dean. They're struggling. They've only made one shot so far.
Yeah, 1 for 9, and they've been feet-set threes, or as my man Carl Semesco, who just recently from Florida Gulf Coast that took the Atlanta Dream job, he calls those cash shots, catch and shoot, because that's where your money's at. And they've been good shots. So you just got to keep shooting them if they're good shots, and it's probably something that Lipscomb needs to be a little bit thankful for, to be honest with you, that they haven't gotten stung by it yet. And water's going to find its level at some point on most nights. So
you were talking about deflection. There's a long half-court deflection out of bounds for WKU.
I can't think of a possession outside of the pick six layups that Western Kentucky hasn't gotten a deflection.
Lander. That tells you nobody is resting, that they're all moving. McHenry, he gets a little soft left-handed shot.
I think Lipscomb tried to throw the okey-doke on him there with a little bit of a 2-3 zone.
9 for McHenry. For WKU, they're down by 7 now. Suber looks over that very tall 6'11" senior Odai of WKU. McHenry passing it around out front. There's Lander. Now Lipscomb, they're pretty much staying man-to-man, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I think they just went 2-3, kind of out of that last timeout, maybe to take away after timeout play, the post-up action.
11 now for Don McHenry. He's got the hot hand for WKU. Had 8 against Campbellsville. Of course, everybody scored against Campbellsville the other night. He didn't have to carry the load, but he is. He's keeping WKU in it. They're down by 5. Top of the key, 3. It's just off the mark by Dylan Faulkner. Faulkner doesn't always shoot a lot of threes. Here comes Lipscomb right back. Giassi Powell. Pruitt needs some help. Faulkner inside to go to Ognasovic.
The last 2 possessions, they've tried to overforce getting the ball inside. If it's not there, you just got to move it on and do the next thing.
They tried to thread a needle. Lander on the right side, the left-hander for 3. Boy, he's getting some good looks at it.
Another good cash shot. Rattled in and out.
Pruitt backs it out for Lipscomb. Had a little space there, he could have taken it. May have been a little too far out. Suber for 3, high arching rebound, and right there to get it. Odai. Lander will set it up for WKU, up high. Lipscomb trying to fight through the screens, and they're doing a good job. Oh, a little collision there. McHenry, this time it doesn't fall. May have rushed it just a hair.
Yeah, get the big fella in there, a little floater in the lane. Not a bad shot.
WKU bringing out that defense. There's a 3 on the way. It's short by Pruitt. WKU limiting Lipscomb to 1 and none.
Oh, open court steal there.
And there's an outside 3 by Powell. And once again, Lipscomb does not crash the board. They didn't have anybody near it.
Well, I was going to mention, it's going to be a little harder. Obviously, Coach Acuff talked about it, but it's going to be a little harder to get transition baskets against Lipscomb in general because they're a get-back team. They don't try to get a lot of offensive rebounds. In general, they just try to make you score 5-on-5.
Boy, Landers, tough luck. That ball was down in the cylinder and came out.
Yeah. Well, to his credit, he hasn't passed up shots because he missed a couple. You know, he knows he can shoot, and you got to keep shooting them if they're good shots.
And they're not really putting a lot of pressure on him. I mean, he's a leaper, and he's getting up over the defender.
Yeah.
Got some substitutions getting in. Kellen Boylan back in for Lipscomb. As you see, foul down there on the floor on WKU. So that is, what, 6 team fouls now on WKU, 5. Okay, that ball was just knocked out of bounds. That's what that was. Williams, Boylan. You know, they don't hold on it long.
No, this is typical Lipscomb basketball right here.
Yeah. If they don't have it, they'll get it to somebody and try to make something happen. If not, WKU Thedford, the freshman, on his way. Up, knocked out of his hands, stays with WKU. Thedford, a freshman, came in 12 points a game and 3 rebounds, had 16 against Campbellsville. We got a break on the action here. Lipscomb's lead cut to 5 here in Bowling Green. Come back and join us on ESPN+. In the last 5 minutes, Lipscomb has gone scoreless. In the meantime, WKU's got on one of the runs we were talking about earlier, 6-0 run to get back in this game.
Yeah, they were down 11. We mentioned that Coach said it before the game, if somebody went up 8 or 10, there was a timeout. Obviously, they righted the ship a little bit, 6-0 run, so now they got it to 5. And now really for both teams going into half here, Scott, it's important to finish out this last 3:48. Coaches like to look at the game in those 4-minute, TV timeout segments.
Wasn't that 11-point advantage that Lipscomb had? Were you really concerned, if you're a WKU fan, really, the way that the shots they were taking? There's a 3 right there by Thedford.
No, not really concerned. First of all, it's early in the game, and like I mentioned, Western Kentucky's shots have been good shots. If they were taking questionable shots, you would be a little concerned.
Suver out front for Lipscomb. Now it's just a 2-point game at 25-23. Lipscomb had an 11-point lead at 25-14. WKU, nice little run here, with a chance here to tie it possibly.
That's 3 consecutive times trying to throw the ball to the post from the top of the floor that it's overshot that guy. I think that's probably something Coach Acuff's going to talk about at halftime is, guys, if it's not there, just get the ball to the next thing.
It may take 2 or 3 passes to get it in. There's another 3 for WKU. Enoch Colombe.
Like I mentioned, regression to the mean, man. Water's going to find its level.
Well, Lipscomb, almost 6 minutes without scoring, has seen WKU go on a 12-0 run, trailing 25-14, now take a lead at 26-25.
Really good baseline out of bounds play there, too. And by the way, going to the corner at that speed and getting your feet set and getting your toes squared up, that's hard to do.
Now, Lipscomb got off to a good start shooting the ball. Now they're down to just 35%, WKU at 34%, but their 3-point shooting, they're now 3 for 13. I think they've hit, what, 2 out of their last 3 3-pointers?
2 out of 4, because they were 1 for 9. 2 out of the last 3, that's right, because they missed 1 and then made 2. And then the other thing here, too, that's contributing to it is, Lipscomb's turnovers up to 8 turnovers now, and 3 in a row, trying to throw that ball from somewhere near the top of the floor over the top to the post. Like, first of all, there's no room for error on that angle.
Especially when WKU has some size inside too, right?
Yeah, and their hand activity level.
Anderson looking to get it to somebody on the dribble for Lipscomb. Driving to the baseline, reversed it up, no good, off the glass, tipped out of there by Bayless, stays with Lipscomb. In talking with both coaches, Dean, both coaches think this could develop into something, 60 miles apart. Lipscomb this morning got up, ate breakfast, did their shoot around, and drove up here.
Yeah, what a convenient way. And for such a high-level game, when you and I were talking, when we arrived at the arena, looking at our game notes, I was completely shocked to see that it had been 62 years.
And both teams had played in Nashville, both games prior.
Yeah.
So good to see a matchup like this. And there's Williams inside. Charlie with a dunk.
Good find there by Anderson. That's typically what he does, is he's a facilitator. He'll score on occasion if he has to.
Charlie Williams out of Carmel, Indiana, transfer in out of William and Mary, averaged about 6 points a game last year. His first points in this game. Bayless, one-hander up and over Will Pruitt. His first points of the game.
A little two-handed, 2-foot floater there from about 10 feet. Good ball and body control.
Anderson once again the facilitator. Williams. Turn, bounce pass in the lane. Maybe led him just a hair too much.
A little bit, but once again, he had Thedford beat, but such a great job of staying in the play and just getting his hand on it a little bit. He almost, I'm not completely sure he fouled him. I missed the replay a little bit there as we were talking, but.
Foul on Thedford, his first. Pruitt's first free throw attempt of the game is good.
I really like this Thedford kid. Boy.
Yes.
When he shoots the ball, it looks easy. His defensive activity level's high. He's got a great body.
Just a freshman.
Just a freshman.
True freshman at that. You come into a program like WKU, you've got some kind of talent.
Yes, sir.
Highly regarded out of Memphis. I think he was the number 5 player in all of Tennessee. Babacar, left hand, found away, tipped 1 on 3. Still almost made it, but right there to pull it down was Miles White of Lipscomb. Agnosovic, little mismatch inside, kicked it out. He had a mismatch there with Bayless. He had about 7-8 inches on him.
See, now they're just throwing the ball direct into the post rather than try to seal the guy and throw it over the top where there's, and then obviously a skilled guy like that, he can get to that little right-handed hook over his left shoulder.
Agnosovic with the mismatch with Bayless just turned a little one-hand jumper.
2-3 zone here the last couple of possessions.
Right, they've changed it up. Keep you on your toes. At the free line, 3, just enough to fall in by Colombe. He's got 5.
Good job by Western Kentucky realizing that they were in the zone of second possession, getting right in the soft spot at the nail.
And that's after taking the lead and falling behind. White gets the rebound off the missed shot by Lipscomb.
If I had to guess, I would think that Joe Anderson shooting a shot off the dribble that early in the clock was Lipscomb trying to take advantage of a 2-for-1 situation, even though it might have still been early. But
ball knocked out of bounds, goes to Lipscomb. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Anderson led the ASUN, 6.2 steals a game last year, had 139 assists for Lipscomb. Agnosovic trying to bully his way in. Pruitt, baseline, in and out.
Western will get one shot here. Get yourself organized.
Down to about 20 seconds to go in the first half. Lipscomb by 1. What looked to be kind of a so-so game has turned into be what we thought. Nip and tuck.
Yep.
Out front with it is Thedford. Who you want the shot to go to here?
Well, they're in a zone, so it's a little bit harder to dictate that, right? You can't just direct the ball, get it in one guy's hands. And
trying to get it in the corner over there. Looked like to Colombe, but it went out of bounds. I think they were trying to hurry it up because the clock's running down. We're at 1.8 seconds.
Yeah, tried to get it to, if they could have got it to Thedford, that would have been a good option, obviously.
We're at halftime. We got us a good one going here in Bowling Green. Lipscomb out of the ASUN 31. Conference USA's WKU 30. We got our halftime stats and a lot more. Come back to Bowling Green on ESPN+. We got a good one going here between two very good mid-major teams in Lipscomb 31, Western Kentucky University 30. Scott Thompson, Dean Cooper, and Dean, pretty entertaining first half.
Really entertaining first half. Expect more of it in the second. High-level games.
Get a good look there. Yeah, Babacar really inside.
Babacar going, getting to his left hand. Kenry getting downhill. He loves to do that. He's got there's a deflection.
McHenry.
That was early in the game.
One of McHenry's first points. And then there he is on a 3. Then right back is Will Pruitt for Lipscomb. Will leading the way with 7 points. And then there's that steal going the other way, Logan Suber.
Yeah, those are what I call lunch money steals, when you just take a guy's lunch money from him right in the scoring area and head out the other way.
Osmond with the dunk, and then Babacar right back with his own.
And that's something, even though we see that, and man, I'm telling you, when Thedford gets his feet set and lets that 3 go, it looks like it's going in every time. There's a great find by Joe Anderson.
You think WKU can maybe expose the inside of Lipscomb, throwing it up high for Babacar to go get?
Well, I was actually going to mention that early on he got that basket. He got the pick and roll where I talks about the exit velocity. Lipscomb's done a phenomenal job of keeping them off the glass, which could have potentially be a Achilles heel for him this game, but they've done a really good job of not allowing that to happen as we see Coach Acuff there.
Over 600 wins in his career, spent 22 years head coach at Alabama Huntsville. Very personable guy. Had a chance to talk with him, and then Hank Polona, same way with him, just easygoing, casual. He doesn't get too excited on that sideline.
Yeah, it's neither one of these guys do, no. Which is a little bit of a break, you know, from sometimes the guys get riled up, emotional, but they were both so open before the game about things they think their team does well, things that they feel like the other team does well, very complimentary, as you mentioned. And we're quite honest about things that they needed to stay away from that maybe prohibited them from winning their, well, Western Kentucky won the Campbellsville game, but the difficulties that came at the end of the Grand Canyon game, and Coach Acuff, to his credit, talking about that Belmont game the other night, which was a real gut wrencher for him, but he didn't shy away from it. He talked about it openly and said, hey man, we got to shake our boots off and get on with it.
You know, he said we've had a couple of days, thought about it, move on.
Move on. They're not going to quit scheduling the games, so you got to play them. So that's the one thing, you know, in the NBA, we play so many games, 82 games. You got to shake those tough ones off quick and move on, otherwise you can spiral in a hurry.
Lipscomb goes and plays UK Tuesday, then they host Jackson State on Sunday. UK, WKU, Jackson State, and Lipscomb all kind of get together here, and they're all playing each other.
Yeah, it's an unusual way to do a MTE, a multi-team event where it's not 3 days in a row or everybody's at the same site. They all play each other, but different days.
Within basically a week's time.
Or with about a week's time. It's actually a very good way to do it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. You get different quality of teams you're going to see.
Sure, and you get some home games, some away games.
Now, I think Jackson State's the only one that's got 3 road games in the mix.
Yep, and obviously Kentucky gets 3 home games.
Well, of course, you're going to get that, and that's a shot clock violation there. No, they got it off just before. WKU gets the ball after the missed shot. They'll retake the lead with a bucket here, but nope. Pickpocket there. Will Pruitt the other way. He almost gets picked himself. Powell inside. They're working on that right block. Civic missed it.
Yeah, that's an impressive block by Fay.
You know, Fay kind of moved his body away, kind of went at an angle to block it.
When you have length and you can get off the floor, you want to keep your feet back and your arms up and be the second guy off the floor. Even if you don't, Dikembe, rest his soul, unfortunately lost a great one, but he was so good at keeping his feet back, keeping his distance, and even if he didn't block the shot, he would change it.
Here's Don McHenry with an early 3 in the second half. He's got 14 now. Now WKU up with a 2-point lead at 33-31.
I tell you, McHenry, when he starts to see that ball go in the basket, the other coaches in this league are going to be concerned.
Faulkner inside. Got a little off balance, backing his way in. Is Babacar there, just kind of wreaking havoc on him. McHenry with a hot hand here in the first half, and then early in the second half. Lander took some good shots, just couldn't get them to fall. In the lane, up and coming off. Colombe. Rim may have some grease on the way some of these shots are just kind of whipping around or sliding off.
They got the gremlin up there.
Yeah. The Grinch isn't here already, is he? Here's McHenry the other way for WKU. A little too early to be talking about the Grinch, isn't it?
Although people have their Christmas decorations up already, and we haven't eaten our turkey yet.
Exactly. Here's Lander with another good-looking 3. Just can't get it to fall. I guess once he hits that first one, they'll start falling.
This is the last 2 times they've run a pick and roll. See what happens here, they switch. But the last 2 times they've run the pick and roll, Faulkner's rolled out of it. If he would get out of there with some pace, which I think Joe Anderson might be telling him right now, with some exit velocity, he's going to get a layup. There's been nobody under the rim to take him away.
No, there was a good, that whole back half of the lane was just wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah, you get a good look here. Watch right here, you'll see. When he went in there, you can see there's nobody near the lane.
Yeah, they're going to have to, Faulkner's going to have to get out of that pick and roll quick.
And he misses the 3. Bedford went high to get that rebound.
That guy's an impressive player. There's McHenry.
He missed the 3. Bedford going in for the rebound. but coming away with it is Lipscomb. Pruitt. Well, that's a mismatch, isn't it?
Yeah, they switched that pick and roll. They come back up to the elbow to get it.
And Babacar's on Pruitt. About a foot difference or so. Tyrone Marshall with a rebound for WKU. Sees a seam, goes in, knocked out of his hand. Kept it alive. McHenry, left of the lane with a little seam with the left hand. That's 16 for him.
Yeah, he can shoot it. He gets downhill. That was one thing when you and I sat and watched him play Wichita State. He can really accelerate. There's the roll I'm talking about right there. See how Faulkner got out of that quick, and then Anderson found him. I think that's what he was telling him before that last possession or so.
Ognosovic with just his 6th point. They made it look easy with that dunk going down the lane. Marshall backs out at the free line, fade away. You know, they shot the ball in spurts in the first half, the Hilltoppers did. They hit some, then they'd go cold, then they'd hit again.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Oh, my goodness. Anderson in and out. You couldn't get it any further in the cylinder.
Yeah, well, you got to say this. Both rims are at least being fair.
Yeah, exactly, right? Not just one-sided.
That's right.
Lipscomb trailing by 2. And we've got a foul on a push-off, it looks like, underneath. We got a break here in Bowling Green. WKU here early on in the second half, 35. Lipscomb 33. Come back to Bowling Green on ESPN+. When Dean Cooper, the former NBA assistant coach, says, do something, well, Lipscomb listened. Lenny Acuff over there must have heard you and relayed it on for that little get out of the way, and here's your play you wanted to see right here.
Yeah, I was talking about the pick and roll, getting out of it quick. The previous 2 times, Faulkner didn't get out of it. There was no exit velocity to get below the defense, and as I was saying, I think Joe Anderson went over and said something in the very next play. That's exactly what they got to, so.
That's the first points for Faulkner of the game. They got Lipscomb within 2. Ognosovic in the lane, a little soft one-hander. He now has 6.
Yeah, he's got great touch. And again, that was just a direct post feed rather than try to throw that thing over the top with that very little angle to work with.
Eden raced it down the floor. Now WKU on the offense, slowed it down. We're at 17 on the shot clock. Babacar with the left hand. Some bad luck again on the rim.
Yeah, he's had a couple roll out where he's made really good moves and haven't gotten the payoff.
3-pointer on the far outside by Charlie Williams, 6'10", right in front of his bench. Might not have been the shot Lipscomb wanted right there.
Yeah, some guys you're good with shooting early in the clock. Other guys maybe a little less so. I couldn't tell exactly how Coach Acuff feels about that. But the one thing he does is he empowers his players to shoot, so they feel comfortable shooting.
Babacar with his 8th point on the follow on the missed shot by Columbe. 8 for Babacar, Faye. 37-35, WKU by 2. 14-36 in the second half. Pruitt off the screen, left it short.
Probably should have taken the first one. He didn't have to dribble.
Suber. A little pitch and catch there with Ognosovic.
Good decision by Suber. You don't want to take on Faye close to that rim.
Right in front of his bench, 3-pointer on the way by Suber, no good. And here comes WKU, Jalen Jackson in the lane, racing down the floor. And he gets fouled and will go to the line to shoot 2 as Miles White got a little anxious on him defensively.
One of the few transition opportunities that Western's gotten off of misses, because like we mentioned in the first half, Lipscomb's a get-back team. They don't really try to offensive rebound and gain possessions by doing that. They're going to try to get back, especially against this team that they know is going to probably defensive rebound the ball over you anyways, and then they're the fastest team in the country as far as pace. So besides being a general get-back team, I'm sure a message the last 2 days at practice has been get back.
Jalen Jackson at the line for WKU. That's his first free throw attempt of the year. We're just in game number 5. Or 4, I should say, for WKU, game 5 for Lipscomb. Second opportunity here. Graduate out of San Antonio. Gets his first point of this game. 38-35, WKU's leads at 3. Suber out front being hounded by Jack Edelin.
Yeah, Edelin's a pesky little fella, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's got deceiving speed as well. Marshall, slammer.
There's those transition baskets that start off of live ball turnovers. That's the other thing. The turnovers, I failed to mention, the turnovers that Lipscomb have had, they're live ball turnovers. There's no defense for those. The ball goes out of bounds or 3 seconds or traveling, you can set your defense. When you turn the ball over live, it's very difficult.
In the lane, Miles White couldn't get it to fall in after he penetrated to the block on the right side. Now here's Thedford. Jackson. 20 on the shot clock. Marshall will fire, and that was a 3 opportunity. Came out. Ignacevic with the rebound for Lipscomb. And we've got a foul running up the floor. Jack Edelin, his second, team third here in the second half.
I love his peskiness.
He could be a spark for this WKU team.
Absolutely.
He was last year as a freshman. Only averaged, a couple of points a game last year. But only a couple of points a game this year, but he can provide that spark and dish it off. Block inside by Marshall.
Another deflection. They get their hands on all kinds of balls.
Off the left side, Charlie Williams with the left hand, his 4th point. Lipscomb within 3. Marshall trying to work his way around the defender Osmond, but he had nothing to do with that fakeroo. Ethan will survey things for WKU. Oh,
can't touch it.
Nope, and it goes out. It'll be Lipscomb ball.
Yeah, he was expecting his teammate to be at the top of the floor, so when he turned around to get rid of it, and
you see right there the block by Marshall. Just couldn't convert on the offensive end.
You get Marshall and Fay, those guys around the rim.
WKU will average about 86 points a game. Lipscomb about 73. We got a ways to go to get to those numbers.
Well, neither team has been able to really, mostly Western hasn't been able to force the pace that they're used to playing. We've seen it here, a couple flashes of it recent. It'll be interesting to see if they can get it to that the rest of the game.
Williams for 3. There's Marshall with the rebound.
You see how all the Lipscomb guys are going, they ain't even thinking about getting an offensive rebound.
WKU on the offensive side. Jackson in the lane. Crashing in there was Babakar, and we got a foul on WKU. Babakar Fai, his second, team's 4th. We've got about 12 minutes to go in the game here in Bowling Green. WKU leading Lipscomb 40-37. Come back to Bowling Green, Kentucky on ESPN+. Earlier we talked about the pace WKU getting it up and down the floor, and the last couple of trips down, Dean, you talked about that's what they want to do, is just force that issue.
Yeah, I've mentioned a few times already, and here, there's a little staying after it, Fay getting the bounce in, but here's the deflection that gets him out running. You can't have live ball turnovers, and they've even tried to, it's hard to run because of what Lipscomb does defensively, which is run back, but they've clearly made an effort since about the 16-minute timeout to press the pace of this game.
Yeah, on a missed shot, Lipscomb's not even going to the bucket. There's a work it inside. Dylan Faulkner with his 4th point. They're giving up the offensive rebound to WKU on a missed shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get back and play your set defense because they know they can't win the open court game.
McHenry, free line jumper. It's off the mark just a little bit. WKU up by 1 here, about 11 and a half minutes to go. Anderson. Got an offensive foul. Faulkner, I think, is going to get whistled for that.
I was seeing if they're actually, Vlad's asking them so many times in college basketball now, if there's anything up around the head, which you're going to see, I'm actually shocked. 90% of the time they're going to the monitor to see if that's a flagrant one.
What looked like on our replay there that he took his hand and got him on the shoulder.
Yeah. I'm not saying they should, but they get a little overcautious in that regard sometimes.
40-39, WKU's lead at 1. They have the ball. Lander in the lane, kick it out. Man-to-man defense for the most part. They'll slough off a little bit when it comes to the corners. Jackson in the lane, little high runner, no, put back up, no good. Again, Babacar.
Those are the possessions right there that Lipscomb needs to stay away from. You cannot let Western Kentucky get 2 and 3 shots on possessions, which they've done a great job of for the first 30 minutes of this game, but they got to stick with that. There's the other, Faulkner getting out of that pick and roll.
Give it to Osmond. Oh, what a move by Osmond. Changing in midair, went from left to right to put it in.
The old classic give and go, you don't see that a lot anymore. Threw it to him, took off running, got a layup.
Watch him right here going up. And got Lander to foul him, his second, team 5th.
Good body control.
Osmond with 4 points tonight for Lipscomb. Free throw here could tie it up at 42. And he does.
Gets the payoff. We'll see what Lipscomb does here. It looks like maybe they're going to fall back in a little bit of their 2-3 zone. They sure are.
They've not tried to force the issue at midcourt. They're letting WKU cross the midcourt and then setting up their defense.
Yeah, they're more of a contained, bend, don't break defense, especially against a team as athletic as Western Kentucky. If you're way out there pressure and you get beat off the dribble, that's probably not going to turn out well for you.
Kind of a 3-2 or a point drop defense right here. Matchup zone. Kind of give you a lot of different looks here. 3 on the way. It's off the mark by McHenry.
Really good max effort contest there by Osmond.
We're tied at 42. Just under 10 minutes to go here in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Just how we expected this game to go today.
The ASUN and Conference USA. WKU hosts Jackson State on Wednesday. Lipscomb will be at UK on Tuesday. Osmond tried to give it inside there, but Faulkner. Marshall was playing good defense. There wasn't an easy lob for Faulkner to get the ball. They got a foul down on the baseline. First, Don McHenry, team 7th. They go on the line. Giassi Powell. Been quiet from him scoring. He scored 4 early. And he'll shoot now for 2.
Yeah, he made those 2 mid-range pull-ups, which they don't take a lot of mid-range shots.
He hits the first one, now has 5. You know, this is his 3rd school. He came from Jacksonville where he had 12 double-doubles a year ago.
That's impressive.
That's pretty good, isn't it? And you're 6'3", and I mean, looking, he doesn't look 6'3". Hit them both. He's got 6. 80% free throw shooter on the year.
Yeah, going back into this 2-3 zone, another possession. See, take him a little bit out of rhythm, maybe.
Jackson left it short. Numbers were there for Lipscomb on the rebound. They push it down the floor. Powell, left of the lane. 3-pointer. Anderson, he missed it. Rebound by WKU's Thedford. Thedford, somebody got a hand on White in there, caused the hiccup, and down floor is Powell with the easy 2.
There's those live ball turnovers again. Now it's Lipscomb's turn to get one and get a run out.
46-42. Lipscomb now up by 4. Well, it's back and forth. We'll see how the final 9:04 goes here in Bowling Green on ESPN+. Well, Lipscomb the last couple of trips down has changed up their defense a little bit. Dean Cooper, and it's kind of interrupted WKU.
Yeah, they came down, played that 2-3. Here they're in it again. So here was the turnover. So we mentioned during the break that neither team is shooting a 3-pointer nearly at the clip that they've shot it for the year. So those live ball turnovers like that where you're just giving the other team points, that's going to be tough to overcome as Lipscomb stays in this 2-3.
3 for 22, Lipscomb. WKU 4 of 18 from 3-point range. Both teams with about 33 rebounds. All the other numbers pretty much staying the same. Blocked out of bounds. WKU ball down the baseline. Tries to set a little screen. Too many bodies over there in that corner.
Yeah, that was a good decision by McHenry.
Yeah. Nice little pass. Babacar with a reverse layup.
There's some classic old school zone offense. Get the ball to the high guy, throw it to the guy behind the defense in the short corner, and finish on the other side of the rim.
12
Coach
points.
Knight, we're alive, he'd be proud of that.
12 points, Babacar Faye for WKU. 2-point game, Lipscomb by 2. Kind of trying to open up the lane, aren't they?
If you're watching from home, the next time Faulkner gets in this pick and roll, if he would get out of there like the one we showed the replay, if he would just get out of there with some exit velocity, he'd get layups because there's no one behind the pick and roll to cover it between them and the rim.
McHenry's pass blocked right back to him off the deflection of Anderson. There's been a couple hundred deflections, I would say. Seemed like it anyway, right? Everybody, both teams.
It's hard to remember hardly anything with McHenry. Boy, when he gets his feet underneath him.
That's 19 for Don McHenry. 47-46, WKU by 1.
Another deflection. It's hard to remember hardly any deflections in the half court that somebody hasn't gotten their hand on a pass or a dribble.
Back door, they go with it. Nice, easy look for Faulkner.
They finally got the guy pushed up the lane and delivered that pass to the corner of the backboard and got the payoff. That's the one that they turned over like 3 straight times in the first half.
And Lipscomb back in the lead by 1. Come back the other way. WKU retakes the lead with Enoch Colombe.
So during that timeout, clearly Coach Paloma talked about the zone. Hey, we got to get the ball to the middle of the zone, the nail. That's what they've done the last 2 times and scored.
Free throws when we come back on ESPN+. Now, it may change these final 7-12, Dean, but both teams have settled down and not turned the ball over like they were doing in the first half.
Yeah, only 3 from each team through the first 13 minutes of the second half. And here I mentioned about the zone threw them off for a little bit, and then I think during that timeout, Coach Paloma said, we got to get the ball to the nail and operate from there. And here they get a layup, and the possession before that's when they got the high-low. So clearly they talked about that in that timeout, and that was a really good adjustment and something to point out as an offensive impact play by Coach Paloma and his team.
That's a big free throw there by Colombe. You know, he's 5 for 5 on the season from the free throw line, 50-48, WKU leading Lipscomb. Just about 7 minutes to go. Now, they had him briefly, didn't they?
Yeah, they had him, and Joe missed him. Some of that was they did a pretty good job of getting their high hands. Maybe you couldn't see him, but he was wide open.
Had a little mismatch height-wise. Now they've switched off, a little more evenly balanced. And Powell goes off his hand, not touched by the white jersey.
I tell you, if you don't get 2 hands when you get the ball near the lane against Western Kentucky, good luck, fellas.
McHenry, now Marshall for WKU on that right side. Now, their offense seems like they're trying to be a little more patient than forcing things right now. McHenry knocked out of bounds for WKU. That they're not just trying to, force things like they were earlier in this game.
Yeah, agreed. And then on that possession, Lipscomb went back to man after they had a couple. It's a good block here by Faulkner.
Yeah, just about 4 rows back he sent it. 10 on the shot clock for WKU. It's not moving. And we had a little shot clock issue there, because it was stuck on 10. So they're going to figure this out. Ball came in, and it just sat there, so they had a little issue. Let's see what they're going to go over there and talk about it. So they'll talk about it, go over there and look at the clock and see how much time.
I think Coach Lenny, I didn't notice it obviously, but Coach Acuff got pretty close to half court. I think he was thinking it should have been a violation.
It was close. There might be 1 or 2 seconds, if anything. 50-48 is where we're at here at EA Diddle Arena in Bowling Green. Lipscomb out of the A-Sun, one of the favorites there. WKU the defending Conference USA Tournament champions. It cost them their head coach winning it.
Sure did.
Well,
3 coaches in 3 years.
yeah. But, you know, a lot of the same personnel is here, you know, and that says something for Hank Polona.
Sure. And he did a good job of supplementing with some guys who can play and keep Western Kentucky clicking at the same level that they've been clicking at recently. And quite honestly, over their history, great basketball tradition here with the Hilltoppers.
Lenny Acuff there at Lipscomb, his 6th year down there after 22 years at Alabama Huntsville. He grew up in Huntsville. His first head coaching job, you know where that was?
Berry College.
Berry College, you know it.
I don't think, I could be wrong, so don't hold me to this. I'm not sure that Coach Acuff has ever been an assistant.
That's something we'll have to get our staff looking up on. If it was brief.
It was very brief. He's been a head coach for a long, long time.
We'll check on that and see. I believe you're right. If not, it was in his first year or two there. Colombe with a free throw.
I'll tell you what he is. Not only is he a good coach, he's good. He's smart, and he goes everywhere that you can win. Barry, you can win. Huntsville's a really good Division II job, and obviously Lipscomb's a beautiful place and a great place to coach and in a good league.
Yeah, back-to-back 20 wins for him the last 2 years at Lipscomb. Second one falls out. WKU up by 3 at 51-48.
They won 20 last year without Jacob playing and some other key injuries during the course of the year.
Yeah, he's coming off a big 28.7 rebound performance, just 6 points today. Credit WKU's defense for that. Thedford with a rebound on the missed 3.
I tell you what, this Thedford, not only can he shoot it, look at that drive. What body control, but he's been high, getting defensive rebounds in traffic. That one he wasn't in traffic, but he's getting them above the rim. This guy's a player.
21.7 rebounds in high school. His senior year he averaged down in Memphis. Inside, Ignacevic missed it. Rebound, WKU's Enoch Colombe. Driving in the lane, Colombe to Babacar. Just went around. He took the body and laid it in.
Got to that left hand. He's got a soft little touch in there. Got away with maybe a little bit of a hook, but hey, give it a whirl.
14 for Babacar Faye. 6'8" senior out of Senegal, transferred in from the College of Charleston. Watch this here.
Here you go. A little bit of a hook. Yeah, not an offensive foul, and then a really good concentration and finish with that left hand.
It's not like he just took it and just kind of held his defender. He just kind of, moved his body where he could get in for a shot there.
A lot more subtle than Michael Jordan on Byron Russell.
A lot of players are very obvious. They'll just take it, they'll wrap it around the other team's body, and then hope they get away with it.
Absolutely. He's got great touch around there.
Both these teams used to scoring this early in the season at a higher clip, but credit the defenses here today both ways, Dean.
Been really good. Both teams, active hands. I mean, we've mentioned a few times about they're not shooting at the three-point ball nearly at the clip that they have. Most of them have been good shots for both teams, but sometimes the shots don't feel the same, in part because the other team's either into you, they're contesting, they got a deflection at some other part of the possession, which throws your rhythm off. So all those things add into missed shots. It's not just missed shots. There might be something that led to that as that shot was getting ready to occur.
Well, Lipscomb has not scored in the last 2-14. Right now, WKU on a little 8-0 run right now to get this out to a 7-point lead, their biggest of the game.
Yeah. Well, they got the noise cranked up. The crowd's into it now. It's a big possession. This is a critical possession for Lipscomb, I believe.
Both coaches up on the sidelines there. You don't see them ranting and raving. They just coach, watch, and instruct. WKU tips it out. stays with Lipscomb as Marshall could not get his paw on it to keep it from going out of bounds. Miles White in for Lipscomb. They'll have it down near the baseline to inbounds it. It's the kind of play they want to run. Once again, they're kind of running like they really spread out that offense and trying to keep that lane open, but there's a three right there by Miles White.
Yeah, they play 5 out and 4 out almost all the time. Rarely do they have anybody, unless they're going to get somebody in there and directly post up, and they never have 2 people around the lane at the same time. Here they are back to that 2-3 zone.
Now WKU's complete opposite. They've got someone in the lane pretty much all the time. The follow-up is good on the missed shot.
Yeah, when they're not out in transition, when Western Kentucky's not out in transition, they have their bigs around the lane. This is another heck of a finish.
Boy, how did Thedford get in there between those 2 defenders?
I'm telling you, this guy can shoot it. He can rebound it. We saw the body control on the left-hand drive here a few minutes ago, controlling his body and making that shot. I believe it went off the glass, actually.
Missed the three-point opportunity there. He's a 60% three-point shooter coming into this game today. That's a bright future for the freshman out of Memphis. Osman out front, top of the key for Lipscomb. 4:10 remaining, WKU up by 6. Ognacevic in the lane, they get to Osman. Turn, laid it in. Body control.
Body control and great concentration playing. They came down to try to dig that ball out hard, and he did a good job. Actually, might have been a foul playing through the contact.
Lipscomb within 4, 57-53. Columbay.
There, that ball is at the high post area again, and then getting that high-low pass. That was clearly a objectionable thing.
Looked like he was going to kick it right, went inside, caught Lipscomb a little off guard. Free throws on the way. WKU 57, Lipscomb 53 here in Bowling Green on ESPN+. As we go down this final 3:43, Scott Thompson, Dean Cooper here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. The team that turns it over the fewest down the stretch here is likely going to be on the winning end.
That's the way it seems. I mean, both teams are, shooting a good click below what they normally shoot. Lipscomb at just 4 for 26 at 15.4% from the 3, and Western 5 for 19 from the 3. So both teams, the turnovers, which is pretty obvious, come down the stretch in any close game. But in this game in particular, because shooting's been a little bit of a struggle, so you cannot give the other team easy opportunity. And then for Lipscomb, a little more so is you're going to have to keep them off the glass. No second chance points.
Babacar to shoot 2. 14 points in the game, had 6 first half. 2 for 2 from the line there. 4 field goals here in the second half. And the referee blows his whistle after giving it to Babacar. I think Lenny Acuff said, wait a minute, he wasn't the guy that got fouled, maybe. Or not? I don't know. Okay. Maybe not.
I think that was the discussion.
Okay, so Babacar will shoot 2. WKU up by 4 right here, and off the back of the iron.
Interesting with Babacar Faye that he's a right-handed shooter, but he really likes to get to his left-handed hook.
A big guy that can do that can score.
Yes, sir. Use both hands.
And defensively, he can block with either hand.
Yep.
Cause havoc.
Big guys that can play both hands around the rim, get shots off, and guards that can pass with both hands. There's
15 now for Babacar. He's second on the team. As Don McHenry been quiet the last little bit with 19. McHenry's not out on the floor at the moment.
Well, Western came out with a press with their 2-2-1, but they trapped out of it and took Lipscomb completely off guard.
They got a foul on WKU's Thedford being aggressive going after a loose ball.
Trapped him at a great area right there, right across half court in the corner. So essentially you got 4 defenders over there.
Okay, they're going to call it on Lipscomb. Okay, I thought it was on Thedford. But there looks like they're going to get White, I believe. No? Not sure who they got that on there, but Thedford's at the line for WKU.
Phenomenal call right there by Coach Ploner, showing the 2-2-1 that had been passive all the way up to this point, and then they decided, hey, when it comes across half court, we're going to get real aggressive and caught Lipscomb off guard. Really good coaching maneuver.
Yeah, both these guys just casual over there. You know, they're not jumping up and down. They're not yelling at players. They're not yelling at the officials. They just, you know, they're coaching.
Coaching, but don't mistake it for not being competitive and not being intense.
Yes.
There's a lot going on. We'll see if they get more aggressive this time, 2 times in a row. They sure are.
And a lot of mutual respect. Three-pointer off the mark there by White. Rebound WKU's Bedford.
Bedford two-handed rebounding in traffic as a wing player.
9 on the night for him. Bedford also with 6 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have a lot of guys that contribute, but when you got guys like Bedford, he's going to help you win a lot of games, my friend.
And he's only going to mature as this season goes along.
Absolutely.
3 on the way, off the mark from Tyrone Marshall. He's only had 2 points tonight. He's a Nashville lad. Anderson behind the back, sees a little seam, kind of throws it up. Nowhere. Columbe the other way for WKU, right into the hands of Osmond. Dribbled right into him, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it. Live ball turnovers, that's going to keep Lipscomb in the game.
60-55, WKU at 2:27. One of those where, you know, didn't switch the hands there, and he just went right into the defender Osmond.
Yeah.
Made it an easy 2 there for Lipscomb.
Absolutely.
Joe Anderson.
We mentioned it, whoever takes care of the ball. And then the other thing is, I can't remember if we were on the air or when you and I were talking off there. All turnovers not create equal. The live ball turnovers, there's no defense for those. If the ball goes out of bounds or you travel and it's a dead ball, you can set your defense. Until that possession, I was getting ready to say Lipscomb's going to have to try to score fast earlier in the clock, not against Western Kentucky's half-court defense. Now that singular possession might have changed what you have to do a little bit, but I still think it would be beneficial for Lipscomb to try to score ahead of the Hilltoppers getting their half-court defense set.
Columbe and Fay with 8 rebounds each for WKU. Ognosovic has 10 rebounds for Lipscomb. And it's pretty even, 41-37. WKU has the rebounding edge right now, and they have the ball. And here is McHenry back into the lineup.
Back to the man-to-man for Lipscomb.
Marshall, way out. Bedford feeling it, missed it. McHenry right there, loses it. Right into the hands of Powell, right on the baseline. Anderson for Lipscomb. We're under 2 minutes to go in the game. 5-point advantage for WKU. Powell, Pruitt, Ognosovic. 3. Calmly nailed that 3, huh?
Huge basket, huge possession for Lipscomb right there.
9 for Ognosovic. They're within 2 at 60-58. Hank Plone over there directing his offense at 1:30 to go.
They're going to try to punch this ball into Fay.
But right there, got a little battle going on. They switch defensively in the lane. Up. Columbe. 11 now.
I'm not saying he's him, but Columbe's got, there's it.
Ognosovic missed the 3. WKU's Columbe with a rebound.
Yeah, not a terrible shot. You're down 2 possessions, so.
We're at 1 minute to go in this game. WKU up by 4 at 62-58. Can afford to be a little patient here. McHenry, 8 seconds on the shot clock.
You can't quite get the 2 for 1, but you can get close.
McHenry faked the defender, missed the wide open 3. Down to 40 seconds. Pruitt in the lane. He missed it. Ognosovic blocked in there. Loose ball. Who's got it? Lipscomb. Now WKU and a foul. Right in front of the Lipscomb bench over there. Don McHenry, his second, team's 8th. You see it right there. Yeah, just a little touchy, wasn't it?
Well, those are tough plays because it's a 50-50 ball, which you coach your kids, hey, we need 50-50 balls, right? But the aggression in that situation actually worked against them because now Lipscomb's got a chance to score without the clock running. So it's hard to fault the player for doing what you ask, which is get on the floor, try to get 50-50 balls.
Miles White with 9, brings Lipscomb within 3. He can do it within 2. He missed it. Rebound, fake. Now here's Lipscomb. Got to come with a little pressure. WKU forcing it down the floor quickly. McHenry!
Interesting strategy there. They could have just held it and make them foul, but McHenry sees a little seam and takes advantage of it and pushes the lead out to 5.
21 now for Don McHenry. 11 in the first half, 10 here in the second. Watch this move.
Yeah, he got down the lane. There's no secondary defender, so all he had to do was just get his shoulder past his primary defender, and then he's left-handed on top of it, which gives him an advantage.
Did a good job of using his body to shield himself from the defender.
Sure did. Now, obviously, Lipscomb's going to have to score quickly, being down 2 possessions. It's an interesting strategy here because this is where people, I think, make mistakes. Say, well, we need a 3 or a 2. You have to work on worst case scenario. You're going to have to foul. So you're going to have to assume, you have to go on the assumption that you need to score 7 points, not 5.
Yes.
You're going to have to foul 1 time. So because of that, for it to add up, they're probably not going to be able to take a quick 2. They're probably going to have to get a 3 here right out of the gate.
And do something they've not done all game, and that's pressure.
Sure. And they're going to have to foul. Because if they make the 2, you know, the shot clock's off. So they're still down 3. They need at least 7. You got to go on the assumption you need 7 points, minimum.
They get it in quickly. Anderson across the timeline, down to 20 seconds. He goes the length of the floor for an easy 2.
Yeah, and Western Kentucky basically probably said, hey, if they're going to score, let them score 2, no 3s.
All right, still a 3-point game, and WKU will have possession. They'll have to bring it the length of the floor. You can see Anderson just, nobody slid over defensively down on the block.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's purposeful, like I said. Even if they score 2, they got to foul us. We'll make 2, we'll go back up 5. You can't trade 2 for 2 right now. Lipscomb's got to make 3s. And it's hard as a player. You see the lane wide open, you just want to go down the lane.
And if you're WKU, you don't want to get that possible charge call or block call, and then they go to the free throw line for a 3-point play, and then that makes it a little easier to score.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those dang if you do, dang if you don't, right?
I think it's good strategy on the Hilltoppers and Coach Paloma's part. Let them score all the 2s they want, and you got to trust your guys. Hey, man, they're going to score 2. We're going to score 2 when they foul us. You know, we just can't let them score 3 where they're gaining a point on every possession.
Now, if you're WKU, if you get to the free throw line, then you've got to make good. You can't come down and miss and let Lipscomb have an opportunity.
Absolutely. So clearly they're going to try to get the ball to their highest leverage free throw shooters in this situation.
It'd be 1-1, both teams with 8 fouls each. They get into Thetford. Oh, Marshall. Time running off the clock. Thetford saves it at midcourt from going out of bounds. Quickly down floor. Babakar on the floor foul. Stops the clock at 10.2. That'll be the second foul, I should say, on Powell.
So we're going to get to one of my major pet peeves of college basketball right here. Right out of the gate, first game. You have to reward the offensive player in that situation, in my mind. That's got to be an and one. He's already gathered going to the rim. I just think you reward the offensive player.
Well, they didn't that time.
And unfortunately, I'm not on the rules committee.
Not yet. Babakar hits the free throw.
Power of positive thinking, my friend.
Exactly. You can politic all you want.
Yeah, I just, plays like that, he's already into his motion.
Babakar. Second one is up, and that is good. 17 for Babakar. Lipscomb down by 5, needs a hurry basket. Not going to get it. That should do it with 2.6 seconds.
Well, what a ball game here this afternoon. Two really good teams. Both teams scraping out, feeling like they need to get it. Western feeling like they need to get their first Division I win, get a home win. And Lipscomb trying to shake off that bad taste from the Belmont game.
Well, WKU will take a timeout here. 2.6 seconds, they're up by 5, and impossible to score 5 in 2.6. I guess it is possible, but very unlikely.
Very unlikely.
So if you're Lenny Acuff, Lipscomb, what are you talking about right now?
Well, the main thing you got to do is you got to hope you get a deflection where it just lands to somebody you can get a 3 off, and get a foul. I mean, that's basically your only hope.
Hank Plona, what's he saying?
He's saying we have got to make sure that we get a pass to a guy, and when you catch it, you have to expect them to hammer you. You can't be loose with the ball.
Protect it.
Correct.
2 hands, wrap it, put it in your shirt, whatever you got to do.
And at this point, with this little time in the game, it's really irrelevant. You obviously still want to get to your best free throw shooters. That should always be, you should always play to that. But, here we go with the football. Everybody's going to line up. This is one of my favorites, by the way.
Everybody lines up on the baseline, out of bounds.
It's good basketball.
All right, Tyrone Marshall's coming out.
He's a little confused on if he's running an in route, a post route, or an out and up.
Yeah. All right, we've got a turnover. It's Lipscomb ball.
This is what I'm saying. The crazy things happen at the end of the game, man.
Not sure if that was by design or I don't think Hank Plona wanted that. I think somebody stepped across the line without throwing it in. Up by 5, WKU, 2.6 seconds. There's a rimmed out 3 by Grant Osmond, and WKU wins it 66-61 over Lipscomb. Strange things happen here at the end.
I'm sure at some point between now and the time that Coach Plona goes to bed, these words are going to come out of his mouth. The players never make it as easy as it should be.
I guarantee both coaches are over there. They may show calm and cool on the sidelines, but inside they're going, what the heck are we doing, guys, at times, right? I'm sure you did that when you're assistant coach, huh?
Shaking heads all the time, and it's just amazing the crazy stuff that happens at the end of the games. It's why games, situational basketball and going over stuff is really important, and obviously these two coaches here have won a lot of games, so they go over those situations. So I'm sure that situation right there is going to be on the WKU edit tomorrow at practice.
WKU coming in with 33 points off the bench. I don't think they got that today, but McHenry, Babacar, and Columbay leading the way in double digits.
Yeah, really good balanced scoring. And I tell you what, you got to give them credit. They played hard, and you got to give Lipscomb credit for coming back and, not moping, not feeling bad about what happened the other day against Belmont, coming in and playing on the road, playing a tough team, gave them a good game, and credit to them and all the credit to the Hilltoppers getting a win here at home.
Lipscomb falls 2-3. They're at UK Tuesday. WKU will host Jackson State on Wednesday. They go to UK on the 26th. WKU improves to 2-2 on the season. WKU 66, Lipscomb 61. From Bowling Green, Kentucky, for Dean Cooper, I'm Scott Thompson. Thanks for joining us. All games are streaming at ESPN.com and on the ESPN app. Good afternoon.